Dan, were you able to make the partner meeting?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not. I was sorry to miss that. I made an attempt to log in prior to pulling out of the driveway, but.
Oh, you were driving.
Yeah. I
we
think
had a nice presentation to Bill. I think we're gonna do it again at the end of, or mention it at the end of the meeting today too. So
fantastic. Yeah, very sorry to miss that.
All right, there's Mark. So here comes everybody, I think. There's Mark. And Richard. Glenda's here now. We have to really be good because she's the one that runs the show here. There's Amber.
Good morning, all. I was on mute. But yes, everybody sat up straight in their chairs. The facilitator has arrived.
Everybody's filing in now.
That's what I like to see.
Mark Breimer, are you on here?
Yes, I am.
Do you know who BNI Peak Professionals is?
That'd be Richard Terry.
Oh, well, Richard's on here. Richard, are you on here twice?
I know the person I'm trying to think who the president is of that chapter now. I don't think it's Richard, but he's in that BNI chapter.
Okay, but it's probably somebody I should let in.
I would. Let's see. Is Hank Jardine on the list?
Who?
On the visitor list, Hank Jardine.
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think I can look up the president. I would think it'd be fine. I would think because BNI is pretty locked down stuff. You can ask Richard who that is. He would know. If it's not him, it's Richard. Do you know who else from your BNI chapter would be coming in today?
Yeah, I think Dennis Burkholder is coming in today.
Is he the president?
Yes.
Oh, then let him in. He's good.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, there's also one that says fireflies.ai note taker. Is that you?
That is Will, and you can remove that.
Okay. Report to Zoom. No, I won't report you.
Thank you.
Richard, did you let Rocky in?
Yes. Yeah. He just signed in.
He's his silent partner.
There you go. That's okay. Did a good boy.
Silent crowd. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Tom. We're being good. We're all on mute.
Good morning.
Good morning, Darlene. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's so great to be here. It's just like my heart is just like so full this morning.
So wonderful having you here. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Looks like Theo's on top of the world.
Theo, are you on one of Elon Musk's satellites?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on my way to Mars right now.
He's inside that red Tesla.
That's the view from the Roadster, right?
I'm glad to see Karen here this morning. We were worried about you, Karen.
Worried about me?
Just hoping you were able to make it.
Oh, thank you. Yes. The rest of it happens on Thursday, so yes.
Good, good. Oh, no, it says Dennis. Dennis, welcome to our meeting today.
Morning. I'm a proud guest of Richard's.
Richard or Rocky?
Well, I would go with Richard.
Yeah.
I know Rocky, but I'm not, he doesn't call me as much as Richard does. We don't have that kind of brotherhood yet.
He's more on the marketing side of the business anyway, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, true.
I did a small project for Dennis's mother, and she's got a dog named Sadie. And Rocky had a play date, 2 play dates. We went together, so it was awesome.
Hey, Richard, I'm not sure that I can set up a play date between Moose and Rocky. Moose might eat Rocky.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Tom's dog is almost like a Shetland pony, okay? And
A Shetland pony hopped up on speed.
Yeah.
How can we embarrass Amber before we get this thing started? There must be something we can do.
Will. Poor Amber.
Amber, I've got a question for you. What's the most embarrassing thing your dad's ever done? Please enter 3 or 4 in the chat right now.
Yeah.
We'll pick our favorite.
Too many.
She's thinking.
Well, we remember when he embarrassed her by pulling her up front at E4E the first time. The look on her face was enough to tell you everything.
Yeah, I'm surprised Will survived that look because what was that expression? If looks could kill, he got him that day.
At our house, we call it a go to heaven look.
I like that. I'm going to have to borrow that. Now we have to go back and find the halo again, Will.
Yeah. I should put it on me, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it going to have a dent in it?
A little rusty.
It's all about our potential. That's what it's designed for.
Yeah.
Hi, David Adams. Good to
Morning.
see you. Here comes Andy. Man, I'm going to have to let my mouse cool off after this, I think.
Turn out.
Yeah. Bill Higley, he's in San Francisco.
That's right. I left my heart there.
Yeah. I bet that was an expensive hotel room you're in there.
Every hotel room in San Francisco is expensive.
But only because it's worth it, right, Bill?
There you go. I want to give a shout out to Will and Andy for the podcast on the PPP loans and payroll protection program, part 2. I haven't hesitated to forward that to clients, and it's well done, and it's convenient, it's quick, they like it. So, Andy, I think it's got your phone number on there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, email address, phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Always good.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill. I'm glad it felt, Will reached out to me and I went, yeah, let's do it, because it's so needed. I mean, there's so much lack of information and misinformation, and of course, just know it's going to change.
Plus, you have all the people that had an experience, either good or bad, the first time around, and now they're wondering, do we want to get on this merry-go-round again? And what about forgiveness and all those sorts of things? So it's very valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Glenda. I've got 8:45. If you're ready to roll.
Well, I am always ready to rock and roll for E4E. Come on. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. We are delighted to welcome all of you to the January. I can't believe it. New year, new month, and I'm excited to see where we'll go in 2021. Welcome to all of our partners today, E4E partners, E4E subscribers, and our guests. We're super excited to have all of you join today for the E4E meeting. We know that you have a choice, but our promise to you is that it will be time well spent. For those of you who may not know me, I am Glenda Woolley, an E4E partner, and I'm going to be your facilitator for today's meeting. So before we get into our actual programming, our presentations for the day, we're going to utilize the Zoom breakout rooms to break into small groups to help us in this virtual climate that we're all living in today, be able to connect a little bit better with each other. So some of you have probably experienced by now, surely, a Zoom breakout room, but if you haven't, no fear, we're going to do most of the work for you. So as soon as I finish providing the instructions on the topic that each one of the groups will share with each other, we'll, with the help of the system, our webinar master will be assigning each of you to a breakout room. And the system does just randomly select members for each group. So it's going to be a surprise for you as to who shows up in your breakout room. And I'll give you this instruction also when you get into your breakout room, if you don't happen to know one or more of the people in your group, just quickly say hi and introduce yourself. But sorry, we really, in the interest of time, we won't have time to do our elevator speeches. You'll have to save that to connect with the people in your group, maybe at another time on another one-on-one Zoom meeting. We just want to, the breakout rooms to last around 10 minutes. So to give everybody the opportunity to speak on the topic that I'm going to share in just a second, just be mindful that everybody has the opportunity to tell you what their response is to the question. So, okay, on to the actual topic. So for today's small group discussion, I think I can say with confidence that with the year 2020, it caused all of us to either within our business or our personal lives or both, we had to either stop, change, or pivot something that we had been doing prior to the pandemic coming. So as you reflect about on those things that you did have to change, stop, or pivot, I think there's value in, have you had any aha moments, or what's one thing that as you have already discovered, thought into, or maybe I'm catching you by surprise, but that although it was difficult to stop that and move into a more virtual world or stop an activity because it just didn't fit the CDC guidelines any longer. When you think about that thing that you stopped, have you had the realization that perhaps you're not going to return to it? When you had to stop it, you were confident that you'd need to go back to it to continue your business or your activities in your personal life. And because we were forced to stop it, pivot it, that maybe now you're thinking, that really didn't serve me all that well. So when things do come back to some semblance of normalcy, you really won't be returning to an activity that maybe you were holding on tight to before our world turned upside down. So hopefully I've made that clear. Some of the things that people have already started talking to me about is maybe for some people, less business travel. They really traveled a lot prior to the pandemic, but now they've figured out, they can save some dollars in cutting some of their travel expense, and they've been able to accomplish virtually what they thought at one time they had to do in person. So that's just an example. I'm sure you all have others. Again, it could be something in your personal life that you don't feel the need to return to, or it could be something in your business. So with that, Will, if you would work your magic and send us to our breakout rooms.
Hi, Rick Shore. I saw him log on. I just made you a co-host, Julie. I'm back. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
So the link for the practice is going to be the one from yesterday or the one that you sent in the email 2 days ago?
So from now on, the link to practice and to the E3 meeting will all be the same. It's basically just a meeting that never ends.
Okay.
And I built out a complete email automation series. So when we set up the meeting for February, you'll be dumped into that and it'll email you the link, both for the practice and for the real meeting.
Okay.
They'll both be the same. I'm not really telling anybody that they're the same because then guests might realize they could keep coming back without paying.
Okay.
But yeah, for us, just so we know, it's always going to be the same one.
Okay.
Which is this one.
Gotcha.
So this is the one that, whatever it is, 685
this is the one. Okay.
I forget what it ends in. I think it's like 685 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like bouncing around into the different rooms.
Yes. You had said that you were going to do that. I went to go get coffee, so I was like, I got to get my coffee. First things first.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go see what Amber's up to.
Okay.
Oh, I just muted you. Do you have a turkey hunter in your family?
Do I have a what?
A turkey hunter? Is that what those are?
Oh, yeah. We have turkey, deer, fishing.
Nice.
Everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
They're all over the place. So I don't know where the other one is. Yeah, there's that one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't see that. Oh, it's this one. It's right by me.
Oh, my gosh. He's looking at you.
Yeah, they're all over. They're my friends. Keep me company.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close up these meetings here.
Okie doke.
All participants have been given 60 seconds to leave their rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I was in one of these and somehow they changed the time you had to come back to like 10 seconds. So, you know, you're in the middle of a conversation, it pops up, and all of a sudden it was just like, you're done.
You're done.
We're back, or some of us are. Will, let me know when we get back all together.
Yep. There's Rick Shore.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Official.
Hi, Glenda.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you.
You too. I was happy to hear you come on to the E4E singing.
I'm walking on sunshine. I know. I was a little crazy this morning, Kara. For me, it's whatever it takes. You know, I'm a little out of my comfort zone, but you know,
yeah,
whatever it takes to keep my mood up.
I do have this energy drink I could give you a link to.
Oh, no. No, don't give her. No energy drink, Kara.
It's a good, I don't take it that often, but when I do, I mean, projects get done. It's just that I don't sleep that night. I have to take it like at 5 in the morning because I'm really affected by caffeine.
So Glenda, you're saying feeling crazy this morning. How is that different?
Andy, you got it today. You're on top of your game today, buddy.
He is. I know, man. It's always Andy's on top of his game. It was probably the energy that y'all got from your breakout rooms, wasn't it?
It was fun.
So hopefully, had some good discussion around the topic I gave you today.
Yeah, it was a great topic. Good choice.
Yeah, really good topic, Glenda.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we don't have a lot. In the interest of time, we can't hear from everybody because I bet there was some really good things shared within those breakout rooms. But we can't all talk at the same time. So Will, can you kind of help me kind of watch? But I would like to hear feedback from a couple people about what was discussed in their breakout room that was surprising or aha or seemed to be a trend or whatever. I'd just like to hear kind of a little bit about what was the conversation in some of the breakout rooms. Who's got something for me?
I'll start.
Okay.
In ours, I think biggest takeaway was people are doing things that they didn't used to do. And I mean, in a good way. People are hiking, they're getting back into horseback riding. They're just saying, hey, let's try something different, even if it's a restaurant. I think everybody is just trying to do okay, now what? In a positive light. So I didn't hear any negatives. I heard lots of positives and people just kind of rerouting with their person, their family, or themselves and picking it out and doing something new.
That's what we talked about too, is the cooking, how we've gone back to cooking and being okay with that. And the other thing that we talked about was really missing being blessed by Zoom, right? But missing personal, physical space connections. I know that I miss that profoundly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else?
So our group talked about missing Zoom too, Darlene. And we also talked about a couple of advantages of Zoom. And one is that we're able to Zoom with people around the country or around the world, which we haven't been able to do before. And then we've also experienced Zoom occasions with family that have brought us closer where we didn't have that before in the same way. So.
Very good. Good point, Cynthia. Yeah. I don't know. We talked in our group about what would we have done if we hadn't had the technology and what a bonus it is that we have the video that we can actually see people. Although, and I'm not going to tell Rick's story, but Rick Shore, I will. I'm going to go ahead, Rick. Rick said that you kind of, you don't mind, do you, Rick, or do you want to tell your story? I can let you tell it. Go ahead, tell them. You're on mute.
Rick, you're on mute.
Hang on here. Okay, I'm fumbling around for my mute button.
No worries. So, I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
That's okay. So yeah, I haven't been engaged in a while because for whatever reason, these Wednesdays have been just consuming for me. So I'm like, okay, great. So I got the note from Steve Denny. I'm like, well, you got to respond to Steve Denny. So I plugged in because I'm doing other things. And I just thought, well, I'll just, attend and listen in. And then all of a sudden I hear we're going to breakout rooms. So I had to run and find a hat because I was not ready for a breakout room. So anyway, there you go.
I think it's perfect, Rick. And I told him, I said, we're so happy that he didn't decide to just, close out and not attend the meeting because we were going to send him to a breakout room. I'm totally appreciative that he went and got his hat so he could join our breakout room, and he did an awesome job. And don't you think Rick looks good in his hat?
Yeah,
guys?
Yeah. It's a good look.
See,
Vanity, thy name is Rick.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'll take one more. Anybody else have something that happened in their Zoom that was shared that they'd like to tell all of us about? Okay, I guess one more was too many. Note to self. All right. Well, I know that you all are excited, anticipation of our E4E agenda, our program today. I can assure you it's going to be absolutely fabulous. We have some great presenters today who have prepared, took the time and effort to put together really valuable information for us today. So Will, I can see you're right on it, bringing up our today's agenda so you can look down for yourself and see who our presenters will be today and the titles if you hadn't already checked that out of the program today. So with that, we're going to start at the top of the agenda. Good idea, Glenda. So we're past welcome with Glenda Woolley. And so we're going to move now into the marketing spotlight. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tom Ruich. Take it away, Tom.
Tom, you need to unmute yourself, buddy.
Sorry about that, everyone.
There we go.
All right. Here I am.
There you are.
Sorry.
No worries. We're not perfect at E4E, Tom. I don't know if you've noticed that. We're not perfect, but we get things done.
Which is great. I belong in a group of people who are not perfect. So I'm going to start with a few headlines from the Marketing Technology Newsroom. Last week, an internet service provider near Spokane blocked all access to Facebook and Twitter. The owner was mad at those social networks for what he perceived as bias against his side of the political spectrum. Last month, Facebook launched a massive media campaign to warn that Apple's new privacy policies would make it more difficult for businesses to advertise profitably on social media platforms. And last year, all of these things happened. TikTok was nearly shut down by the federal government. Google changed the algorithm they used to rank websites in its search engine 3 times, leaving those in the search engine marketing game confused and frustrated. MailChimp and other email service providers became more aggressive about banning accounts for inaccurate content or other violations of their policies. And by the way, this was not all about politics. And last but not least, federal policymakers are discussing whether to break up Google, Facebook, and other tech giants. Busting up those giants would please antitrust advocates, but it would also dramatically change marketing technology as we know it. So why am I sharing all of this doom and gloom? To ask you this, are you ready for the rug to be pulled out from under you? If you rely on any digital marketing platforms to grow your business, the rug has already moved a little, and it's going to move more. I love marketing technology. I founded and ran for 19 years an email marketing company. I'm working today on funnels that will generate leads via social media and will nurture those leads using email. But that love has its limits, and all of that funnel building is just one part of a multi-part plan. If your plan is to grow your business using social media, search engines, other digital technologies, you better have a plan B. You better master other ways to grow your business. So that's the bad news and the warning, but here's the good news. There are many tried and true ways to grow a business that don't rely on Google and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and MailChimp and all the other usual suspects. We're old enough to remember, most of us are old enough, I think, to remember the previous millennium, way back when in the 20th century, when we built businesses without any digital marketing technology. And here's the irony. The people who are best at 21st century marketing are the ones who incorporate those tried and true 20th century strategies and tactics. So I'm going to recommend 5 tried and true things that you can do to prepare yourself for marketing success, whether the technology rug gets pulled out from under you quickly or gradually. Number 1, power up your business stories. I'm not just talking about the elevator speech. I'm talking about all of the messages that you deliver to attract prospects and keep them on the edge of their seats and inspire them to act. You don't need a digital technology to deliver powerful stories. And if you have powerful stories, your digital technology will work better. Number 2, beef up your referral strategy. Thank your happy customers, engage them, ask them to refer, and most importantly, don't just ask, but also give them the tools that they need to tell others about you effectively. Number 3, work on your conversation skills. Remember when we used to sell by building relationships and having one-to-one conversations? Too many businesses hide behind digital technology. They collect friends and build connections, but they're not really establishing real relationships. One-to-one relationship building worked in the 20th century, and it's more critical than ever today. 4, learn to write copy or hire someone who can. The best marketers are the best copywriters. That was true in the 20th century, and it's still true today, despite 180 characters or less and all that other stuff that happens on the digital platforms. Some 21st century marketers succeed without being great copywriters, but that won't be as easy as all those digital technologies evolve and face new challenges. And number 5, practice your presentation and speaking skills. The more you master this, the more you'll sell. And not just speaking to large groups, we're also talking about speaking and interacting one-on-one. So if you focus on any of these things, or better yet, all of them, you'll be a better marketer right away. And when all those digital channels you rely on shift or fade away, you'll be miles ahead of the competition. That's it. Thank you.
Wow, wow. We are so glad you took yourself off of mute. Tom, thank you. What a timely topic, because I saw all those headlines and social media talking about what was going to happen with Twitter and Google and Facebook and all of that. And yeah, even in my world, I was thinking, what's that going to do for my platforms and how I communicate with people? But I loved your 5 strategies. I wrote every one of them down. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. With that, we're going to move on to our run showcase. And for those of you that have been with us before, you know we divide our presentations into 3 categories: how to run your business, how to grow your business, and then some tips or thoughts on how to live. We, as at E4E, we want to, find ways that we can live the good life, but also run a successful business. So first up is our run showcase. And our presenter today is Karen Fox. And so with that, Karen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Glenda. I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Get it to cooperate here. Okay, the power is in the mindset. So what Tom just spoke about, we're going to cover some of that here. So it's perfect timing. So as we go through, ever wonder why some who are not as smart or as creative as you are, they're succeeding faster than you? Any of you wonder that? Because we have some brilliant people on here. We know that's who's attracted to E4E, right? The brilliant ones. So your brain actually believes everything you tell it, and your unconscious mind tries to accommodate it. You ever been in an accident? Ever start to relive that? Tell that story over and over and over again? What does that do for you? It brings those emotions back up and the anxiety. Or did you ever make a mistake on the stage or something and you keep reliving it? That's not good for you, because your brain doesn't know if that just happened or if that happened years ago. I just finished a 2-year journey in November and created my NLP practitioner certification. And some of you may or may not know what NLP is. Others may. Will, if you'll put my questionnaire up there, I'd appreciate it. Can you do it while I'm sharing, or do I need to stop? There we go. Here's your questions. If you will answer one of those. You're trained in NLP, heard of it, don't know much about it, never heard of it, or use NLP in your business. If you'll submit your answers, I would appreciate that. Just a little more time for that. Okay, as soon as we have our answers, Will, if you'll let me know. Okay.
There you go.
Perfect. So 42% have heard of it, but don't know much about it. Some are using NLP in their business, and 35% have never heard of it. Well, let's talk about it a little bit. How's that? Let's see if we can get this to continue on. Oh, there we go. Okay, NLP. It's neuro-linguistic programming is a powerful sales psychology that is composed of 3 most influential components involved in producing a human experience. The neurology, it controls and regulates how our body functions. The language determines how we interact and communicate with other people. The programming determines the types of models we create. So we're going to talk a little bit about NLP, but we're going to talk more about the power in the words you use. Do you know every word you speak influences what you do, how it influences your unconscious mind? I'm going to ask you some of these words. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute because I want you to answer these and I want to see your answers. Okay? When I ask this question, I'm going to give you some words and I want you to tell me in the reactions. Use the little reaction down at the bottom. If it's a positive with a thumbs up or a negative for you. So does this word create a positive or a negative? Okay. The first word I'm going to ask, when I say crazy, does that create a positive or a negative? Okay, I'm seeing some of both. Okay. Use your reactions. We can see it. Oh, I see. We have just faces, huh? Okay, use your thumbs up or thumbs down if you can. That would be better. Okay, when I say stress.
Karen, I have the thumbs down.
You don't have it on yours?
No.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay. Well, then let's just do a, I love Kathy's. Okay, so let's just do it physically. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. How's that? We won't use the reactions. Okay, let's go with the next one on stress. Is that a thumbs up or thumbs down? Interesting. You see, we have both. So the words we use can mean one thing to us and something to someone else. So again, thinking about the words that we use daily. If I say full plate, is that a positive or a negative for you? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Love it. Okay, if I say busy, what does that mean for you? Positive or negative? Interesting. Love it. Okay, wild. I use the word wild. Will gave 2 thumbs up on that one. Okay, what about the word explosive? Are you neutral or what, Will? Oh, Bill's kind of neutral there too, okay. What about the word test? Kira's neutral on that one. Okay, how about shout? Now Kathy's neutral on that one. Okay, what about snap? Okay, challenge. Stretch. Some had to think about that one. Now this last one, a friend of mine, and they happened to be on here with E for E, happened to throw this one out, but it was marriage. Is that a positive or a negative? I'm glad to see all these positives on here. That's awesome. Great. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen now. Okay. Get it to move again. There we go. The problem for most of us, just because the way our brains work, we focus not on the positive, we focus on the negative. What we should do is focus on the positive and not the negative. You know, we always talk about what we don't want. I don't want to fail. No, I want to succeed. I don't want to fail that test. I want a positive. I want an A on that test. I don't want to lose that contract. I want to keep that contract. Those are things that we need to look at, but our brain automatically goes to the negative. That's why you'll see so much negative even in marketing, because we relate to that so easy. Now, no need to worry. You have the opportunity to write the ending to every story. And this is what I've been saying lately, because what I say creates that. How I feel about it, I react to it. Do you know you only have 7 seconds to make a first impression? That's really, really important that we realize that. And that means even on Zoom, 93% of people's judgment of others are based on non-verbal inputs like body language. Did you realize that? That's pretty impressive amount. Okay. Only 38% come from the tone of your voice. We start thinking about the tone of our voice. Only 7% from what you actually say. So does that let us know how important those 7% are, that we have to be clear and concise when we're saying what we want? You know, Tom was already talking about it. Are you clear about your story? Are you very clear about what you're saying? So valuable. When I used to train my sales teams, I used to tell them all the time, if you talk to your prospective buyer, and you keep talking, you sold them everything, and then you just bought it all back. So we have to be careful that we're not throwing up everything about our business, about our product, and keep talking about it. You have to tell about it and be silent. I used to hear a thing in my business that said, wait, and it's why am I talking? So you share and then you wait. There's 6 body language mistakes, and I'm going to share each of those here. And again, this is how it's reflected in a negative rather than a positive. Avoiding eye contact. Have you ever been talking to someone and they keep looking down or they keep looking past you? You are not going to influence them and build trust unless you have eye contact. The next thing's the arms crossed. Some people not only cross their arms, they cross their legs as well. So what kind of reflection is that when you're crossing your arms? You're leaning away from them. You're coming back. That is not engaging and coming forward. So make sure when you're trying to influence your potential buyer, you're not making these language mistakes with your body. You can also read them of what they're thinking by that language as well. What if they're not smiling? If they're smiling, do you automatically feel like you've got a little bit of rapport there and you're at least getting through a little bit? When they sit back and they're not smiling or you're not smiling, either way, it puts a barrier. Slouching. Now, it's a little different with us being on Zoom because you see people lean back in a chair or lean forward. But when you're in person and you're seeing this, the slouching says there's really not interest. You're not really talking their language. And when we get to shake hands again, a weak handshake. I know that's a problem for all of us because even now when you do see someone, you want to reach for the hand that's like, oh, sorry, I can't do that right now with COVID. But when it comes to it, a weak handshake, it's got to be a strong handshake. A weak handshake says we don't trust. What if they're too close? Even on Zoom, you can get too close. So be careful that you're not doing that, whether it's online and it's working through Zoom or whether it's in person. People need their space. So don't invade that space. It used to be a tease with the kids, you're in my bubble. And so don't get in their bubble, give them space. Now, what kind of learner are you? Okay, we talked about the body language, but what kind of learner are you? Are you a visual learner? Visual learners are just what it says. They like to see. They like to watch. They need to see things. I'm a very visual learner. So I love the fact on Zoom that we can see each other. And I want to see a presentation. I want to see the information. So if you're a visual learner, that's how we need to talk to you. Sorry, it's not moving again. There we go. Are you an auditory learner? Do you have to hear everything? Are you a great listener because you're auditory? That's important to know that when you're also talking and you're trying to sell. That's part of the psychology in it. Are you kinesthetic? Are you one that needs to be able to touch things? Are you a hands-on person? Are you auditory digital? Auditory digitals are the ones that like the facts and figures and they're all the statistics and they're so analytical. Now, have you seen people that you've been talking to and you've been trying to sell to and they look like a deer in headlights? Or do they look like this? It's because you're talking the wrong language. When you're building rapport, you have to speak their language. So if I'm visual and you're trying to show me all the stats and figures, You have just glazed me over. I want to see it. Just let me see what's going on and then tell me a little bit about it. Keep showing me. If I'm auditory digital and you keep wanting showing me this webinar and it's going longer and longer, in their mind, they've shut you off. So you've got to be very careful that when you're doing this and you're building the rapport with them, you're building it in their language, not your language. When you build rapport, that just means you're building up a place where you're calming them down and you're building trust. Pacing. It's like someone running faster than the other person and you're trying to have a conversation. When you're thinking about working with that potential client, you want to pace at the same time they are. So if they're slower talking, you're going to talk a little slower. If they're faster, you're going to pick up the speed. You pace so you walk together with them. The next thing is mirroring. Now, most of us have heard this through our entire life, business life, that when you mirror someone, they automatically start to have rapport with you. Now, we don't want to be so dramatic that we do something like this, but to mirror what they're doing, keeping their pace, mirroring what they're doing. But that starts to cause them to trust you. And no one buys from someone they don't like and trust. Now, this is just a drop in the bucket of the psychology of sales, drop. So now I'm going to ask if there are any questions. We've got any questions right now? Will, do we have any in the chat or anything?
I do. Karen, with all of the emphasis that body language has on the way people perceive you, how does that relate to the way that, you know, if you're doing a lot of communication by phone, obviously body language isn't a factor. So how does that affect the way that you communicate?
Strictly on the phone, Les?
Yes.
Okay, strictly on the phone. I feel like you still have to have the same and not use, I mean, be very careful about your body language when you're talking to people, because we read into that. I used to teach my people to use a mirror so they could watch themselves. So they knew they were smiling and they communicated so much better.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Richard wants to know, how do you know people are smiling with masks on?
That's true. That's true. Right now it's a whole still different story. But if you're on Zoom, I can tell if you're smiling or not because your mask has been removed.
Yeah, also, I think we've really started look at their eyes really closely. Yeah, Andy just said that. I think that we can watch that in the eyes as well. You can tell if somebody's smiling.
True, true. You see more of my wrinkles.
Wisdom lines.
Oh, I like that, wisdom lines. Any other questions or comments?
Great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I have actually told people behind my mask that I'm smiling at them, that I'm good with what they've said, that you can't, I'll actually say, you don't know it, but I'm smiling at you.
No, that's great. Great feedback, Linda. Thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll turn it right back to Glenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you too for, you know, I'm sure it's just the tip of the iceberg about NLP, but it was great what you shared. Very interesting study, and congratulations on, you know, completing your course of study in that. And you're certified, correct? Is that correct? That you're certified NLP instructor, coach? What's the correct term?
Practitioner.
Practitioner. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And I don't know, Will, we haven't really talked about questions, but along, you know, throughout our program today, if you have questions for our presenters, you know, certainly you can type them in the chat, and some of them will take them like Karen just did after her presentation, but also at the end, we'll look in the chat box to see what other questions we might have come up along the way. All right. With that, we're going to move on to our next presentation, which is our Grow Showcase. And our presenter today is Mr. Richard Terry. So Richard, I will turn it over to you.
All righty, thank you. Well, let me get rid of the slideshow. Why is that there? There we go. All righty. Today, I'm going to talk about how one book changed the growth of my business. And in the last 3 years, this particular book increased my business by using some of their techniques over 27%. And what is the name of that book? Whoops. It's the 7 levels of communication by Michael J. Mayer. It's going from relationships to referrals. And 4 of the techniques that I chose that helped me. One is the spectrum of solutions, which is nothing more than a document depicting and listing solutions that your company performs or problems that they solve. Affirmations is nothing more than just positive self-talk. And one-to-ones, that's meeting with someone, and there's the before, the during, and the after. And that's what the handwritten notes are really all about. So my spectrum of solutions, this tells people what I do. We reduce worry and anxiety with our clients because we have a step-by-step process that lets them know what we're going to do and when. We also have a concierge shopping service that helps people pick through the maze of products that they need to choose to complete their remodeling project. And our clients, yes, they're raving fans, so we don't have to advertise. And we spend 100% of our time focusing on giving extraordinary customer service. And yes, we like to celebrate, usually in kitchens afterwards, because the neighbors are nosy and they want to see what's been going on anyway. We haven't figured out a way to do it in the bathroom, but I guess one day we will. So affirmations, this is one of my favorites. It's called the Rainmaker's Affirmation. Each and every day, someone, somewhere in St. Louis needs my service. And my job today is to find that person. Another one, I have a financial goal, is I'm scheduled to earn $300,000 for 2021. I also have a healthy goal. I am going to stay healthy by walking our dogs every day and doing Miranda and classical stretch, and also eating healthy. So one-to-one meetings. We used to have them in person, and now we have them mostly by Zoom. And there are 3 steps that I look at, and one is the before, which is looking up people's websites, finding information about them so I can get a list of thought-provoking questions. I also send them my spectrum of solutions. And I do that so people can know a little bit about me, and that way I can concentrate on and being a good listener to getting to know them much better. So I have the acronym FROGS that helps FROG to help me. The F is for friends and family. I ask them about, are they married? Do they have children? How old are they? What are they into? Also, the R is for recreation, or what do you do for fun? You can learn a lot about people by, knowing what they do for recreation. Are they a runner? How they get into that? How do they like it? Do they collect things? So you can learn more about that individual. The organization or business, what business are you in? How did you start that? How did you get into that business? Again, going deeper, learning more about the individual. And then their goals, whether they're personal or business goals. You get to learn, again, a lot about people when you know what they're trying to accomplish. It also gives you an opportunity to help them as well. So one of the things I say is each one teach one. Jim Canada's book on networking. It also outlines the before, the during, and the after. It's an awesome, awesome pamphlet. And I actually send that to everybody that I meet with. Another one is Fred Miller's elevator speech. A lot of times we only have 60 seconds or so to tell people what we do. And one of the things I love in Fred Miller's deal is on I think the 5th floor, it says, people use my business because, or people use my services because. And when you answer that question, people will know how they can refer you and how you can help them and what other clients you could help. So I like to ask thought-provoking questions. What is your biggest challenge with your business? And again, delving deeper, getting to know them better, where I can help them. And then what can I do to help? Now, these are questions I ask towards the end of the meeting. So I can leave with an assignment. When I say leave with an assignment, okay, I will send them Fred Miller's template. I will also send them Jim Canada's pamphlet. But also there may be an individual that I could introduce them to help them with their business that I could do, an introduction to, or it's something that they needed that I could help them with. And once in a while, people will ask me what I want. And I'm looking for desperate housewives who love to cook and entertain, but hate their kitchen. So if you know any of them, send them my way. And this is probably the most important part of the one-to-one meeting, is the F-bomb. And it's called the follow-up. And I do this through handwritten notes. Whether it's the one-to-one, I can write them and thank them for the meeting. It was, getting to know them and how I can help them, whether it's a referral. I thank the individual that referred a client or somebody to me, keep them abreast of, our progress if it's going to go further, whether it's a potential customer or a client. I thank them for the opportunity to meet with them. And then if it's a client, I have a particular process of handwritten notes that I send to them through the entire remodeling process. So there's a few of the notes that I have written in the past. And of course, my favorite one is with Rocky because he makes me look good. So what are some note guidelines? I use blue ink because it's more positive. I use the word you and avoid I or me because you want to make it about them. And also being specific with praise. And in your meeting, you should be looking for things that they have done that you can compliment them about. Everybody likes to get compliments. And then the power of a positive projection. Praise them for a specific trait that they have that maybe you'd like as well. And then I always say write rightly, and that means write upwards as opposed to downward. And it's just a more positive. So with send out cards, they also have an area where you can write each letter, capital and lowercase, in your own handwriting. So with this is one of mine, and then you can use what they call your handwritten font. So you can send cards that look like it's handwritten. Now I write both, but I use both of these, and it's been a great tool for me to stay in touch with my clients and people. So, and if you meet with me, I will send you one of these booklets. So if you do 5 meetings, you can get the whole set. So that's the spectrum of solutions, the 7 levels of communication by Michael J. Mayer. The spectrum of solutions is telling people what you do, solutions that you provide, that your service does. The affirmations is positive self-talk. The one-to-ones, you have the before, the during, and the after. And the handwritten notes is the F-bomb or the follow-up. So I challenge every one of you to maybe try one of these techniques to see how it would help your business. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Richard, can you send us the link to get Fred Miller's material that you were just talking about? Maybe just put it in the chat.
I have a copy of it. I don't know if I have a link to it. But yeah, I'll get it to you one way or another, Les. Yes, I'd be more than happy to do that.
I'll get Fred's link and post it in the chat.
Thank you. Being IT challenged, that would have been a problem for me. Any other questions?
Not so much a question, but Richard, I'd just like to hold you up and say that I don't know anybody that does this stuff better than you. You know, I've had the pleasure of meeting with you on multiple occasions, and you execute on this brilliantly, and it's done with such authenticity. So I really have to say you are an expert in this area for sure.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
Richard, Stephen had a question. Has your growth accelerated as you begin to integrate this into your practice?
Yes. Like I said, I read that book probably 6-7 years ago. And actually, Michael J. Mayer was actually in town, part of our mastermind group. So I got to meet him personally. But to answer your question, yes, it has. And it's just helped me communicate better with my clients and people, you know, do business that they know, like, and trust. And by doing and being consistent with your process, that has helped me to grow my business as well.
Rick Shore asked about what the handwritten note technology, that's send out cards, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put a link to it.
Yeah, that's one, and they do have, I think now you have to pay for it. Originally, when I got it, you were able to write out the alphabet and do the thing, but they also have all different kinds of fonts in there too that you can use. So it's a great vehicle to communicate with your clients and friends. So.
No other questions. Thank you, Richard.
Yep.
And Richard, I would echo what Dan Fazio said. You, my friend, absolutely walk the talk.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Next up is our Live Showcase. And so with that, I will bring up our presenter today, the beautiful Gail Moran.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's sweet. Hi, guys. How you doing? We are going to talk a little bit about you today. And can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. So every year, and I've done this, my kids were 3 to 10 whenever I started doing this, because I had to make sure that I had enough money to get them to what they needed to do. And then I just kept expanding. So as I'm going to talk for just a minute here, if everybody would please get out a piece of paper and write on that piece of paper these 5 words. And then skip like 3 or 4 lines, and then do personally, professionally, financial, family, and home. If you write these things down, they are more apt to happen. And I really mean write them down as opposed to get on your laptop. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying I do believe that if you really take the time to do this, then what you're going to do is take this piece of paper, and then you're going to be able to keep tweaking it, which is what I do. And again, you can do this on a laptop. I know some people that is their thing. For me, I got to write it. It just sticks with me, and then I kind of cross through and reroute and things like that. So, as everybody's taken 2 minutes, personally, professionally, financial, family, home. And again, this is what I do. So if there's just 2 of them that you want to focus on, that's great. Then we're going to walk through that and talk about that. So what do you want to move in your life? What do you want to move or change in your life? In this year of COVID, we have all done some things that are different, and some of it's good. A lot of people have lost weight. Some have gained weight. Some have started to hike. Some have done more games with their family. So I do believe that in this time that we're in, things have changed. But what do you want? This is all about you. And you don't even have to share this with anyone if you don't want. This is just something that as you're writing it down, these are things that you've been nudged about for some time. What does it look like? So think about it. What do you want? What do you want to change in your life, and what are you willing to do today, this week, this month? And goals do need a time. It helps to put some time on it, meaning when do you want it done? When are you going to start it? How's it going to look? How's it going to feel? So you want to be specific. And as you grow in looking at them, daily, weekly, you're going to be able to change them. And one of the things I love to do is mark them off. I like to mark them off. And sometimes I even add them on. So even if I've already done it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to add that on, because then I get to cross it off, because I get very, very much fulfillment in crossing them off. So let's talk about personally. So most of the things that you're going to see here are probably things that I have done in my life, because this stuff comes to me pretty darn quickly. But I will say to you, I am really, really good about doing some of these. I hit my financial goals almost every year, and I'm talking this, it's been a long time coming. Because for me, I have to make sure that I do that for my kids. This personal thing, I've had to make it a little bit easier, meaning like what I did here was like a new hairstyle. So think about this, guys, as we are all in COVID, you see a lot of people with longer hair, right? Whenever you look in the mirror, is that what you want? Is that what you want to see? Or, you know, our buddy, well, you know, whenever you have the beard and, you know, did you love it? And if you loved it, that is what this is all about. If you looked in the mirror for your wife, then you got to go, okay, is this going to stick? Is this what I want? I do know, I know. I do know that a lot of people, they're looking in the mirror and they're like, so take a minute, make the date, plan it. And for me, I was an impromptu girl to get my hair cut, so I'd start chopping on it on my own. And I'm talking, I'm 58. I'm talking like a year ago, I would still do that. I don't do that anymore. So now I have every 5-6 weeks. I know, it's nuts. So why do I want to do that now? Because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. I can look in the mirror and I'm like, all right, I'm doing okay. The same thing for me, something very easy. I look in my closet, I'm like, I got nothing. I got this much clothes, but I got nothing to wear. So I took it upon myself to say, I'm going to have 2 hangers that have things that if I'm going somewhere on an impromptu, I know I feel good, look good in this. And if I ever put on anything now that I don't feel good, it goes in the giveaway bag. I am too old for this. It is not where I want to be. I want to be able to feel good. And it's no matter your age, you guys, no matter what your age is, all of these things, we're all doing some of this. I don't like to put down anymore, lose weight. That's a negative, as we were talking about things like that today. So what I have been doing a lot is exercise. So I want to exercise. And why do I want to do it? Well, it makes me feel good. And if it's not something that you're used to, baby step it. 10 minutes. Walk around your house for 10 minutes. Then add steps to it, right? I mean, we can all do these little bitty things that make us feel good. And then you can move it up to 15 minutes. Give up sugar. That's one of the things. I want to give up sugar. There's no reason I don't need to eat sugar. Again, this is a personal thing, but it's like, okay, so I'm going to start. Now, if I don't make 30 days in a row, okay, I'm going to keep going. I got a calendar and I can just keep going, right? So I like we were talking earlier with Karen, this is a positive thing. Like, you know, come on, we are all human. Still keep going. All right, I'm going to get on it that next day. So let's get on it. And what do you want? Okay, we've already talked about here about listening more, right? I love my father-in-law, and my father-in-law used to always say to me, hey, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, Gail. And I mean, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Because I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, I learned the listening skill. It is so much more fun for me to listen to all of you than it is to throw up. It doesn't feel good. I love it whenever I can listen and then I can come back to you and say something in a positive light. So make a sticky note. I do that too. I put a sticky note in my car, on my mirror, and I move forward with that. Okay, so that's personally. Professionally. So professionally, that's up to you. We talked a little bit about things on a professional note. This is last year, I wanted to make 10 more calls every week. So that's 2 calls a day. I put them in my calendar. When do I want to do them? And usually what I do is I do all 10 of them in one day so I can cross it off because I want to just get it done. I just want to get it done. And now I don't mind it as much because I'm used to kind of doing it. So it's kind of one of those things that I don't like to do, I'll put down and I want to scratch that baby off. I also make up a list of daily actions the next day before I close. Now, again, these are mine. Whatever you guys are getting nudged about, write it down. You're getting nudged on one or two of these areas. And there is something that you're like, I want to do this. Put it down, put it down, put it down and let's see what happens. I want to be a part of the partner team at E4E. Do you? All right, come on, talk to one of us and let's see about that. I'll commit to grow a relationship with one of my other coworkers. I think that's important, at least for me. We have 50 plus employees here. So especially with COVID, I'm missing really learning some of these people. I'm writing down their names and I'm touching them. I'm touching them on some different basis. I will add to annual revenue, right? I'm going to add to X dollars to my revenue, and then I have to sell X. If that's important to you, you want to grow your W2 by 10 grand or whatever, how are you going to get there? And you always got to go backwards. I want to grow it by this, which means I have to sell this much more, which means I have to meet this many more people and have this many more presentations. So you always got to go backwards. So if that's important, then of course the bottom, ask more questions. And we've talked about that. It's kind of funny how this all melds together with all of our presentations. That's very important to me too. And I do the same thing, even in my marriage. It's like, okay, what questions do I want to know from him and why? And you know, sometimes I do, I write them down. Financial, in all honesty, and this is crazy, this is really my easiest, because on a financial piece, you can put this down and the minute you set it up, you're done, right? Personal, probably something you're going to be doing daily, weekly. Financial, okay, I want to go on a vacation. This is an example. And so it's going to cost X. And I want to go in this month. So how many months do you have to do it? And if you do it by pay period, so I need X number of dollars divided by, put it in a different account. And guess what? Once you set it up, when you want that money, it's already there. So I had kids that went to private high schools and it was important to me to do that. And man, I had to just keep shaving money. The minute I set it up, I'd be like, there it is. So it's amazing financially. If you just set it up, your 401k, if you want to add to your 401k, just call your person or get online and change it and do it. And it's done. It's done for the rest of your life until you change it again. If you have credit card debt, how much do you want to pay it off? When do you want to have it paid off? And I will guarantee you, many years ago when I got divorced and I had credit card debt and I wrote this stuff down, I always achieved it earlier than I thought because I couldn't wait to scratch it off. So it's kind of an amazing thing as you're writing these things down and what becomes important, how fast you can get it. A lot of people, they want something. You want a bike, a motorcycle, a boat, a treadmill, whatever it is, write it down. Write it down. When do you want it? How much is it going to cost? How are you going to get that money? Is it on your bonus that you receive? Is it X dollars per month that you're going to save for it? All of this is available to you to do. You just got to get in the groove to do. I used to always, many years ago, it's like I have to have $10,000 in my savings account because then I felt if I would ever lose my job, I was still okay with my family. And so that was important to me. And I didn't buy the new car and I didn't do the that. I needed that to feel good for myself and my family. And I could walk taller. I walked taller when I did these things. If you want to pay down your home, how much do you want to pay down? How are you going to do? Maybe you just set it up that you pay X every month. So things that are important to you, write them down and then figure out how to do it. Family. So family, and again, because of COVID, there are so many, whoops, oh no. Sorry, guys. So family, there's a lot of different things that you can do on the family side. Aren't you proud of me, Will? And so like games, so many more people are playing games. We went to Kansas City this weekend, as I have up there, and we brought the game Rumicube, and my son and his girlfriend that never played, and they were kind of like, oh, They love it. So guess what's going on their Christmas list this year? They're going to get Rumacube. You know, I mean, it's just fun stuff like that. So I have 4 boys plus 1. And so in my family, I always want to visit all the boys at least once. And so I got to make the date so I can get in their calendar. And so that's important to me. I got to put it on the calendar so we all know what's going on. I want to do a retirement party for my husband. I want to do a Zoom February retirement party. How's it going to look? How's it going to work? And my husband has this phone that just rings off the hook. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a theme of turn off the phone for Jim, you know, like it, you know, you did just for fun, something different. And then we'll do a party hopefully in the summer. Family, do you want to plan a vacation with whom? How's it look? You got to vision. What's it going to look like? What do you need to do for it? What are the different pieces that go with it? And then weekends, like we talked today on our breakouts. What do you want to do? And is it something different? Do you want to read a book? Do you want to hike? Where do you want to hike? Do you want to bike ride? Do you want to learn yoga? These are just wonderful things that move you personally into a new bucket for yourself. And I'm telling you, you're going to smile. Family, what about family dinners or movie night? You know, mark it down, get it done. Boom. So this one's really big, and I accomplish these all the time because I write down things that I want to do. And then I put dates most of the time. Or I add to them as I go. So I want to paint our backyard brown. My husband has it red. I can't stand it. I'm like, I'm painting it brown this year and I'm going to get it done by this date. He's like, okay. So I just write down different things that I want to do and when I want to do, and sometimes with whom I want to do them with. And then, guys, it happens. It's like magic. So I usually have a new spiral notebook. I write each of those categories and I put things down and I flip and I flip and I carry it. I sometimes carry it. Now I know a lot of you guys don't want to carry things and I get that. So put it down after you write them down. Go ahead and put it in your laptop, your iPad, whatever you've got. And then have a way that you can cross things off and add to them. If you learn a new book, I mean, we always hear new books. What book do you want to read? Why do you want to read it? Put it down. So those are really, really cool things. So I am a firm believer in this will change. You will stand taller as you, and just write 1 or 2 per category. Just, you know, you don't need 5 or 6 because you'll never do it. But if you start to do 1 or 2, especially if you cross them off, that's what happens. Add another 1 or 2 to it. You're like, oh, okay, I got that done. And I'm only in February. And then you like add a couple of more and it just keeps the momentum going. So they give us direction. What do you want to commit to? What is it that you want to commit to? And write it down. So, you know, one thing Richard told us about a frog. So my frog has always been fully relying on God, and you can change the God if that's not your deal. But I am all about, you know, I have frogs all over because I love that. So I love that we've got another analogy on that. So questions, comments, I'm open. Anybody have anything that they put down that they had a nudge for and they're like, I'm going to do this?
Well, from my standpoint, Gail, I heard a lot of confidence building in what you were saying in your message today, and I loved it.
Thank you.
David Adams said your enthusiasm is contagious.
Aw.
Karen Hoffman. Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
Gail, I loved your presentation, and it's so impressive the amount of things you have on each of these lists. I'm just wondering, what do you ever feel it's too much or you're overwhelmed, and what do you recommend doing when that happens?
Oh, be 100% transparent. I almost achieve everything on my list, and I have for years, except the personal. I am really bad about giving back to myself and giving time to myself. But I have to tell you, especially like within the last 2 years, I've been like, what do I want? What is it that's important to me? The others, and I'm not sure why, but the house is just easy because, you know, I have 12 months to do it. Financial, I can set it up and, you know, whatever I want to do, I can just set it up. So truly, I can get that one done in a short period of time. My family, because my boys were so important to me, again, I knocked that one out almost always. Professionally and personally, those are the two that truly I would struggle on. And so sometimes I would feel less than because I didn't achieve them. So what you're saying is right. And so what I learned was one or two. The other ones I might be able to do 3, 4, or 5 because I can hit them. The ones that I get challenged on, I have to bring down what it is that I want to achieve and really think about it so I can get it.
You know, Cynthia, in regard to your question, one of the things that I've counseled people in my confidence programs to do is that when you identify something that you feel that you want, to list the first 3 to 5 actions you're going to have to take in order to make that happen, and then rate each of those 3 on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being high, how willing you are to actually take that action. And if they aren't all 4s and 5s, then in this case, don't put it on the list, because what you think you want is not really what you want strongly enough to persevere through the inevitable challenges we face whenever we try to achieve a goal.
That's a great litmus test.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Dale.
Uh-huh.
There are a couple books being mentioned in the chat. Tiny Habits from Stephen Denny. Karen Hoffman said, Write It Down, Make It Happen is a good book. And
well, I'll throw in one more that's very similar that I think is one of the best books I've ever read. It's called Atomic Habits.
Yeah, I read it.
And it's all about that 1% a day improvement, how that builds over time. Just the first chapter alone is now required reading for all my clients.
I think we all heard Rocky's roaring endorsement as well. So beautiful presentation.
Wonderful presentation, Gail. Goal setting, I can't say doesn't really light my fire. I do know how important they are, but my goodness, you were certainly your enthusiasm behind it and your ideas about how to make it work for you. Thank you very much. I think you kind of, promoted, more of a rally for me around goal setting. So thank you.
Glenda, can I add one more thought? Because sure. It also comes from Atomic Habits and a couple of other books, is that make the commitment to the process, not to the outcome. Because if you're staying committed to the process, you will eventually get where you want to go. And if you just focus on the outcome, you lose track of the process that's required to get there.
Thank you. All right. I don't think we've mentioned it, and some of you, we heard some absolutely E4E gold today. So many nuggets, so many tips, so many ideas. And so as you think about, we like to share what those are, what your takeaways, because we at E4E, we're committed to adding value to our audience. So if you guys could take a moment and think about, what's your one takeaway today? What was the thing that really struck you as something that you can actually go out and apply to your personal life or your business? We'd really like to hear, what's on your mind about that top of mind takeaway. Or if you do not want to, speak, you can actually type them in the chat, and we'll go through the chat for us and either ask any remaining questions that you have on your mind, or what your takeaways are today. I did want to mention too that our presentations are recorded, and that they're uploaded to the E4E YouTube channel. And Will, if you will, you could maybe put a link to our YouTube channel so that everybody could take advantage of revisiting some of these wonderful presentations that we heard today. And we encourage, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, that you could receive notices about new videos that get uploaded and that are added each month. So I would strongly suggest that if you haven't subscribed to please do so. So I think I'll now turn it over as you guys are thinking about your takeaways. So Will, if you could perhaps unmute people, and I'm going to turn it over though to Steve Denny, our leader, to kind of facilitate that discussion about takeaways. So Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, fantastic. I'm actually going to defer for just a minute. We had during the partners meeting. Okay, now we go. Can everybody hear me now? Outstanding. Well, listen, I'm going to defer for a minute and let you guys continue to think about your takeaways for just a few minutes, and then we'll come back to those. But during the partners meeting this morning, we had a very, very special presentation and appreciation and demonstration of our love for the founder of E4E, Bill Purnett. And we would like to share with the larger community a portion of that. And Cynthia Carell has very graciously joined us this morning and is going to lead that. So Cynthia, if I can ask you please to unmute and share your screen, I'd love it if you'd share a portion of that with our larger community.
I'll be happy to. It was so much fun earlier this morning to celebrate Bill Purnett. And 10 years ago, many of you may not realize, but E4E was just a glimmer in Bill's eye. And look where we are today. So all of the partners got together and we decided to document how Bill has made a difference in our lives. And we put together a 50-page coffee table book with 45 testimonials and almost 100 images. And I'll just show you a few pictures of that. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go. So this is the book that we put together for Bill, and we conspired to deliver it to Anne this morning, and she handed it to Bill during our Zoom meeting. This is what some of the pages look like. The book is like 10 inches by 10 inches by 1 inch, so it's pretty substantial. This is the first page that says, "Let us tell you how Bill Purnett has made a difference in our lives, how much we appreciate him, and how much we will miss his leadership at E4E." This is the cover. And here's what the book looks like. It was in a gift box. And so it was pretty exciting. A lot of the sentiments of all the 45 testimonials had so many commonalities, and they were summed up in this one testimonial that says, "Bill Purnett believed in me when I didn't know how to believe in myself. He taught me to keep pressing on and think in better ways." So many people said over and over again, "He changed my life for the better. He makes a difference in my life. He makes the world a brighter place. Bill saw something in me that I didn't." That's Bill Purnett, our founder. And Bill, we celebrate you today and every day because we're so happy to be part of this wonderful community. You've created this culture that keeps bringing us back over and over again. So thank you.
Cynthia, I appreciate that recognition. I'm honored to have spent all this great quality time with both our partners and our subscribers. And Ann and I are looking forward to continuing that journey with you all. We're just playing a little different role. And Stephen is going to be a great energizer to where we're headed. So looking forward to it. We're just going to move on. Turn the page.
And I would just like to add my thanks. Cynthia, you did an amazing job of this, and Stephen for your support. And I'm tired of crying all morning, so I'm going to stop right there.
And Ann, I also want to point out that we know you've been a huge part of this and played such a valuable role, and we love you too. We really appreciate all that you've done for E4E. And I must say that I can't imagine handing the E4E heart and culture and soul of E4E over to anyone better than Steve Denny. So Steve, thank you so much.
Amen. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Listen, for the benefit of everybody that may not know about the transition effective in January, Bill and Ann are taking on a chairmanship role. They're a chairman's emeritus role and will be with us for the from here forward in a substantial role. They've built this amazing platform, and I'm honored to take some of the day-to-day responsibility. But frankly, this is your group, and while our motto of "Don't fly alone" and make sure that we have phenomenal education and resources that all of us can integrate into our business and our daily lives stands, we will continue to rely on all of you as very active participants to build on this fabulous legacy that Bill and Ann are leaving for us here. So it's certainly not goodbye to Bill and Ann. We will continue.
No, not at all.
But today was a day of celebrating Bill and Ann and the legacy that they have built here at E4E.
Cool.
Fabulous. Well, folks, another fabulous week fabulous month of presentations here. 3 specific ones. I'm going to cover a couple of quick takeaways, and I invite all of you to jump in. I want to start with Mr. Ruich and his marketing spotlight. 5 phenomenal points. Power up your business stories, beef up your referrals, work on your conversation skills, learn to write copy, practice your presentations and speaking. We are all coming out of an incredible 100-year event. The market is hungry for community. The market is going to be different in 2021. It is a sparklingly bright, beautiful day here in St. Louis. We're exhibiting to the world that as Americans, while we may have not all the same views, we are very gracious always in our transfer of power. And so I think, Tom, you started us off on exactly the right foot, right? Now is the year to resolve to take our businesses to the next level. From that, Karen really dove us into a quick reminder that our brain believes everything that we tell it. Right? Let that sink in for a bit. Your brain believes everything that you tell it. And the power is really in the words that we use. Absolutely true. Certainly as parents, we all know that firsthand, right? But as leaders in our business, so very, very powerful. And we all have the opportunity to write the ending of our stories. So Karen, phenomenal for you to remind us of that. I love the specific guidance that you gave us on how nonverbal communication and our voice and tone and inflection in our voice is so meaningful to the overall scope of communication. And the quick reminder of wait. I hadn't heard that in many years, and that is such a beautiful reminder. Why am I talking? Look for the audience to share. I also love the 6 areas of body language and the key mistakes that we can be making in that regard. What type of listener are you? Now that's fabulous. I think inviting all of us to really consider that at a deeper level was very good. And then, your beautiful summary of building rapport in the listener's language, reminding ourselves to be other person focused, pacing, walk together with our listeners, and then mirroring our listeners to really build that level of trust. Karen, it was a phenomenal presentation. Building on that, Richard came in with 7 levels of communication and really gave us some incredible tactics that we can use every day in the business to build the skills. I will tell you, Richard, frankly, it's what I've built my business from over the last 5 years as well. And we are very proud of the fact that, 95% of our business comes from referrals, and all of it comes from honoring the various tactics that you provided for us today. But I love the specific skills that you called out. The spectrum of solutions. What a beautiful, beautiful summary document. I had not heard that before. I'm going to figure out how to incorporate that in our business. Affirmations, and there's a great book by that name as well. Affirmations is a phenomenal way to think about your day. And I love the Rainmakers affirmations that you shared with us, Richard. Each and every day, someone in my community needs my service. My job is to find them and help them, right? That's phenomenal. I love that. One-to-ones, excellent, excellent feedback and coaching on before your one-to-one, doing your preparation, making sure that you come to the meeting prepared. During the meeting, I'm going to forever think about eating the frog. So that was phenomenal. And then after, leaving with an assignment, even if your assignment is something as simple as doing a follow-up note, I think that does make all the difference, Richard, and that's quite a blessing. I also love the little nugget of gold that you gave us in those notes to use blue ink. I had never thought of that before. How fascinating that is, blue ink. And then always using you instead of I or me, and being very effective and specific and complimentary, utilizing praise and write rightly. Boy, that's another thing that'll stick with me for some time as well. So phenomenal. And then Gail, you brought us home with goals. Where are we going? Reminding us all, where are we going, right? I love the 5 dimensions that you've shared with us. I've seen other coaches that share 6 or 8 different dimensions as well. But the key thing is, what do we want to move or change in our life, right? And you've helped us focus on that. I also love the fact that you called out that goals must be time sensitive. I think I saw somebody in the chat say, a goal without a time frame is merely a dream. So very, very true. Mark them off and then add them on. I thought that was an interesting, insight that comes from a lot of wisdom of using this for many, many years. So I thought that was beautiful as well. And the key that I also heard you say is, why do I want to do it? What's my own internal motivation? Never lose sight of the fact that I have selected this for a reason, right? I've got a good friend of mine that said to me last week, and I've thought about this every day since. He said, if you change 1% a day, at the end of a month, you're going to be 30% better. At the end of a quarter, you're going to be 90% better. At the end of a year, you're going to be a completely different person. Just change 1% a day. And I thought, man, that is so in line with what you brought to us. Small changes lead to a big change. Absolutely. Small changes every day. Don't think about the destination. Think about the one small change that takes you one step forward on the destination. And pay attention to the nudge, what I call the God winks, right? I think the spiritual world, does nudges from time to time. We got to be very, very sensitive to those nudges. Go backwards to figure out what you need to do. What is that next step? That's all you got to worry about is what is the next step? Not the whole journey, just the next step. Beautiful. And then write it down, achieve it earlier than you think, achieve it faster. And the result of that is it's going to make you smile. Wouldn't we all benefit by having more smiles? So just an incredible day of learning. And I would invite others to comment on some of the key things that they heard today. And we'll open it up for discussion.
Well, I just want to say that was an amazing summary of everything that happened today in about 10 minutes. That was wonderful, Stephen. Thank you.
There's a lot of media, folks.
Darlene Hertz had a nice comment. I'm so excited to begin putting into action what I've learned. Tom, I am inspired by getting back to the basics in marketing. Karen, always what we focus on grows. Spectrum of solutions. I'm going to borrow that, she said, and not overwhelming myself with a list of goals, more baby steps. Fantastic.
Well, incredible. Just immediately before I hand it over to Dale, I want to reemphasize something Glenda said earlier. So you guys have all been incredibly blessed to be able to get this information firsthand today in these wonderful presentations that Gail and Richard and Karen and Tom have shared with us. Pay it forward, share it with others. We'll have it on our YouTube channel, the E4E YouTube channel, in the next several days. You can go there and revisit it. If you missed any of these key points or you just want a refresher on all these things, they'll be available for you to refresh. And for those that are in your community that you think might benefit from the blessing of hearing one or more of these messages, please pass it along. Forward the YouTube presentation to them so they can also receive the blessing. And thank you very much for your participation today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dale, who's going to give us a preview of next month.
Real quickly, Will, would you put the link to the YouTube channel in the chat box, please?
Thanks, Steve. Hopefully you can see the agenda for next month. Actually, it's supposed to be February and not January programs. Well, you think you got it covered and then you find out you really didn't. But next month, our marketing spotlight is going to be Karen Fox. We've already heard great things from her this month. We'll hear more next month. Andy Magnus is going to talk to us about the power of words. Will Henke, always loved Business Approved program, is going to be up next month. And John Ayers is going to speak your future, direct your future. So another exciting program list, and hope to see you next month.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate the sneak preview. I can't wait for next month. It looks like an awesome lineup. All right, well, I think that's pretty much a wrap, everybody. Thanks again for joining us today. You know, I'm biased, of course. I absolutely love the E4E meetings and the time that we spend together. But I think today's meeting, there was something special about it. Of course, we had transition of leadership announced today, but I see all good things coming for all of us in the coming year. So I have more hope. I just think it really set us all up to look to the future for good things to come for all of us in 2021. And I look forward to, you know, walking that journey with all of you, all of the E4E partners, subscribers, and our guests today. I hope that you'll consider coming back to a future meeting, or perhaps, you know, wanting to join our membership as a subscriber. We would absolutely love to have you. And those of you who are currently subscribers, for you to consider being a partner. We would love to have that happen too. So all the best to all of you today. Enjoy the rest of the day and your week. And I'll see you in February, third Wednesday of the month.
Thanks, Glenda.
Bye-bye, everyone. Until next time.